My name is Valerie. I live in Virginia and I have been married for almost 16 years. My husband and I have three wonderful children, an 11-year-old boy, a 9-year-old girl, and an 8-year-old boy. Um, I'm a teacher. I teach fourth grade and elementary music, and I am currently continuing on towards my education degree here at Liberty, and I plan to continue teaching once I finish the degree. From this class, I hope to gain the skills that will help me communicate better with the parents of my students. I have no problem talking to children. I could talk to them all day, but the parents are a little bit harder to communicate with, and I'm hoping to get some tips and tools from this class about how I might better communicate with my students' parents. I've been a Christian since I was 5. I grew up in church. My husband and I have been active in our church here since we moved back to Virginia. And we love being in church. We love having our children here and involved in the church as well. When I thought about an event in my life that had impacted me, there were several to choose from. But eventually I settled on the time when my husband was deployed to Iraq. My husband served in the Army for 10 years, and he was in Iraq for almost 18 months. His deployment was not a surprise. We knew it was coming. He had been training for it for a long time. But what was a surprise was that a month before he deployed, we found out I was expecting our first child. We'd been married for almost 5 years and had been trying to have children for a lot of that time, and the doctors had said it might never happen. And then a month before he deployed, we found out I was expecting. It really caused us to question God's timing a little bit. Why then? Why right before his deployment, when we're getting ready for him to be gone for so long and to a dangerous situation? Why would God choose then to bless us with a baby? In hindsight, I understand why. God used that pregnancy to really help me have something to focus on other than the danger that my husband was in. During the deployment, about a month before my son was born, part of his unit was out on a mission and went into a building that was booby-trapped. The building exploded and it killed several members of the unit and injured many more. We did not know, I did not know, if my husband had been in that building. The Army usually keeps a communication blackout, but word had come out about the explosion through other units, and actually it was on the news. But I didn't know if it was my husband. For about 2 days, I waited and wondered and worried whether or not it was him. And during that time, God gave me truly a peace that passes understanding. I was afraid, but overriding the fear was the knowledge that God was in control and that whatever happened was within the circle of his will. And it was amazing, and it's really indescribable to try to communicate what God did at that time. Fortunately, my husband was not in the explosion. He made it home safely, and since then we've had our other 2 children and moved back to Virginia. And I'm so thankful for the lessons that God taught me during that time. He gave me comfort. He could take my emotions, whether they were fear or loneliness or anger or frustration. God took those emotions. He was big enough to handle them and to comfort me and give me strength to make it through that time. And I'm so thankful for the lessons that I learned through that experience. Thank you.